everybody. Welcome to another episode of TNFro is Reading, and I'm your host, Felicia Baxter. This is TNFro broadcasting from Chattanooga. Listen, I still have no sponsors as of yet, so I'm going to shamelessly direct you to my website, dalesangelsinc.com, and check out offers from the following sponsors. I actually can make a pretty significant amount of money just by you clicking on my website. I actually am a publisher for Gaiam, which teaches us how to balance mind and body through the practice of yoga and Pilates. And from Alibris, why pay more for books? SodaStream, an economic way to enjoy carbonated beverages in the comfort of your home. And Sea Bear, enjoy the choices offered from the sea. Hi, this is TNFro back again and going over what I'm actually reading today. So I'm changing up the format just a little bit because I'm finding with my ADD and those with potential listeners, it's probably better if I shorten the time that I actually record. I want to cover a whole bunch, but it's just not in the cards, and I still find it really fun when I don't have to prep as long or take as long to prep, and I could just get right into it. Also, the why of why I'm doing this is because, again, I have ADD, and I'm reading several books simultaneously. For example, not only have I written and read multiple times my own book, Not My Family, I've also read in the interim, oh my gosh, Warmth of Other Suns, White Trash. I'm starting to read a couple of more books that I've actually had to put on my list. In particular, right now, I'm reading two books. One, I was able to get off of the morning show with Angela Yee and Charlemagne the God. And it's something called Unlearn. 101 Simple Truths for a Better Life. This book was written by a gentleman. He calls himself Humble the Poet. He's self-published just like I did back in 2014, and this book was actually picked up by one of the hosts of that show, and he uses it as a way to write out his daily affirmations, and he bases his daily affirmations on this book, and he goes to meditate. And I wanted to start, while I'm reading this book, I want to basically start with that, the first affirmation about the whole consideration of unlearning is basically those things that we have learned in our life that no longer are applicable in the life where we are and where we want to go. We have to forget it and rewrite the script. So the first one is recognizing that there are no straight lines, meaning, and this is what he actually writes. I'll just read it to you. There aren't very many straight lines in nature, and that includes your life. When reading through this book, the first thing I want you to let go of is the idea of a straight line. You're going to come to points in this book where you're going to stop and say, "Didn't he already say that?" The answer is yes. Anything worth saying is worth repeating. It's rare that we come across something worthwhile in life, and a single encounter is enough for it to stay with us. This book was written as much more of a cycle than simply having a beginning, middle, and end. Ideas need to be reinforced and revisited to settle themselves into us. These days, information is being taken in at such a rate that is forgotten before the pages even turn, assuming people still turn pages. Well, swiping left, anyways. Any skill worth having requires practice, and practice is simply repetition over and over until it becomes second nature. So that's my first affirmation for the day. There are no straight lines. Repeating is good. That's how we're going to learn. Um, and practice makes perfect. And the second book I'm actually reading that I was completely fascinated about, actually the backstory of how I picked up American Kingpin is I was actually sitting in the public library here in Chattanooga, and I was supposed to have been reading, and I was reading um, Unlearn, and I was looking around and at the stacks, and I noticed this book. It was actually really intriguing. I picked it up and I saw in big red letters American Kingpin. And it says it's the epic hunt for the criminal mastermind behind the Silk Road by Nick Bilton. And I was like, is this another true crime story? So I popped it open, and it says it's the unbelievable true story of the man who built $1 billion online drug empire from his bedroom and almost got away with it. In 2011, a 26-year-old libertarian programmer named Ross Ulbricht launched the ultimate free market, the Silk Road, a clandestine website hosted on the dark web where anyone could trade anything: drugs, hacking software, forged passports, counterfeit cash, poisons, free of the government's watchful eye. It wasn't long before the media got wind of the new website where anyone, not just teenagers and weed dealers, but terrorists and black hat hackers, could buy and sell contraband detection free. Spurred by a public outcry, the federal government launched an epic 2-year manhunt for the site's elusive proprietor, with no leads, no witnesses, and no clear jurisdiction. All the investigators knew was that whoever was running the site called himself Dread Pirate Roberts. The Silk Road quickly ballooned into a $1.2 billion enterprise, and Ross embraced his new role as kingpin. He enlisted a loyal crew of allies in high and low places, all as addicted to the danger and thrill of running an illegal marketplace as their customers were to the heroin they sold. Through his network, he learned about the target on his back and took drastic steps to protect himself, including in ordering a hit on a former employee. As Ross made plans to disappear forever, the feds raced against the clock to catch a man they weren't sure even existed, searching for a needle in a haystack of the global internet. Drawing on exclusive access to key players and 2 billion digital words and images Ross left behind, New York Times bestseller author Nick Bilton offers a tale filled with twists and turns, lucky breaks, and unbelievable close calls. It's the story of the boy next door, ambition gone criminal, spurred on by the clash between New World libertarian-leaning, anonymous, decentralized web advocates and the old world of government control, order, and the rule of law. Filled with unforgettable characters and capped by astonishing climax, American Kingpin might be dismissed as too outrageous for fiction, but it's all too real. It cracks me up that these people were so anti-government control. The government did actually the and the laws and the rules that they uh, bucked is what actually ultimately brought them down. And I'm actually really excited about reading this work of nonfiction that's written like a true crime story, and it is. It's not a true crime fiction story, which is truly nonfiction. If the beginning and the introduction of it are indication about how good this book is, um, I'm actually ready to get through it. And this actually, the book actually itself, I didn't realize, does have multiple images of Ross Ulbricht, his interracial girlfriend, and he's an unassuming character, and he just looks like an average Joe, and you would never think he created this whole $1 billion underground. But his anonymity is what saved him for a number of years, and he built up this massive empire. This is going to be a good read, and I highly recommend this, as well as Unlearn 101 Ways to a Better Life. And this ends this episode of Tennessee Fro is Reading, and you guys have a wonderful and productive day.